Let's go straight to Greg Swenson now. He's chairman of Republicans Overseas UK, and talk about what's been going on in Los Angeles, the second biggest city in the United States. Very good morning to you, Greg.
Good morning, Julia.
Thanks for joining us. I have to say, it's been extraordinary watching the scenes of protests, violent protests, or largely peaceful protests, as they're always called, people who are on the left. And then the troops being deployed by Donald Trump. And then that being criticised as immoral, even, by Gavin Newsom, the California governor, basically saying, look, I haven't asked for you to do this. You're just ramping up the fanning the flames, even. And we're actually looking at flames right now of cars being burnt and goodness knows what else. What is your take on why on earth the governor of California hasn't got on top of these riots and why he's objecting to the US president trying to do so?
It's unexplainable, Julia. Gavin Newsom, since the Los Angeles fires late last year, since the wildfires, which really could have been the end of his political career, he's made a pivot to the center. He's even gone against men playing in women's sports on occasion.
Yeah, he suddenly saw the light on that one, not at all after seeing the polls.
Yeah, no. even though a biological man just swept every gold medal possible at the California State Track Championships last week. But anyway, he's saying the right things. But look, I think he just can't help himself. He has to do everything he can against Donald Trump, against the president. It's just unthinkable that he would let this happen, especially given the history in California, going back to the Rodney King riots in 1992. And same with the wildfires. He just, that he let it go. And same with the Mayor Bass. She just let it go until it was too late. And I don't think President Trump will allow that, especially after, some of the mistakes President Trump made in the summer of 2020, where he sat on his hands because he thought that the local authorities would take care of it. And didn't.
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, it is laughable. I remember the Black Lives Matter riots, and we saw whole neighbourhoods being burnt to the ground. By the way, largely black-run businesses being burnt to the ground in these areas, and the intimidating action. People literally going to restaurants saying, "Do you support us or not?" And take a knee, and if you didn't take a knee, you got a beating. I mean, I have to say, I'd have struggled with that one. I really would have, for my own safety, but not willing to play along with the madness. But, I mean, people being massively intimidated. And that's what's been going on here. These people are objecting to the law being enacted, not a law under Donald Trump. The law against being an undocumented illegal migrant coming into the country legally and working in the country legally. That's been in place for a long time. That is supported by the vast majority of people. The president has a clear mandate. He said he was going to close the border, stop more people coming in illegally from Mexico, and deport illegal migrants who are already here. He's got a mandate for that. He's got, even on the polls now, massive support for that. I think over 60%. And California, astonishing, 2.6 million undocumented migrants believed to be working there.
It's amazing. And I think that, the president has to, as you mentioned, Julia, the president has support on this. Mass deportations of illegal migrants is polling around 70. It's polling at 67 with Hispanics. It's polling at 67.
Who voted for Donald Trump, by the way, in their masses.
But it's also polling at 67 with people that voted for Kamala Harris. It's just common sense. It's a common sense revolution. You mentioned the 2020 riots, the so-called peaceful protests, where there's a church burning behind the camera on CNN. And the other, this is not organic. This is being, some of it might be organic, but it's a lot of highly coordinated,
It's the usual suspects, isn't it? It's anti-Trump, Antifa. They're all. I mean, they're waving the Mexican flag, but I mean, there's lots of people they're the usual suspects who turned up to every sort of event like this.
Yeah, that is correct. And then they gin up the mob. They get the mob all excited. You've got you don't see many American flags flying around there. It's all mostly Mexican flags. It's not helpful that the president of Mexico is encouraging this. It's not helpful that Newsom and Mayor Bass are encouraging this. It's completely irresponsible, absolutely irresponsible.
But in Gavin Newsom, I mean, not only when he's just appalling on lockdown, again, the typical hypocrite, he was going off to secret posh restaurants to eat when he was having, when kids were banned from school for a year. Your schools are bad enough as it is, but kids didn't get an education for a year, and then kept them in masks until March 2022. The man should be behind bars, as far as I'm concerned, for what he did. But the key thing is here, he's sort of saying, our economy, I think it's like the 8th largest largest economy in the world or something. Yeah, but it's funded by illegal migrants paid sort of low wages. But also, crucially, he's lost control of the streets a long time ago. When you see what's going on in San Francisco and LA in terms of the opioid abuse and people just living and, you know, defecating and on the streets. I mean, it's California is no. I mean, lots of businesses are leaving, lots of people are leaving because they have lost control of the streets. The mass looting that goes on a daily basis. Why on earth is this man being even remotely considered as a possible frontrunner in the next presidential election when he can't even run the state he runs properly?
Yeah, all you'd have to do is play a highlight reel of the outcomes in California. You know, the mass migration out of California. The only people that are staying are illegal migrants and homeless people. The only time San Francisco was cleaned up temporarily was when President Xi of China came into town. So he's a communist at heart. He's a classic elite. You know, I'm glad you referenced the French Laundry, which is the name of the posh restaurant. By the way, his children don't go to public schools and wear masks. They were probably quite content with private school.
Don't. He's genuine. He could be genuine one of the worst people on the planet. If they run him as their candidate, you guys are guaranteed another 4. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You guys are guaranteed another 4 years. Greg Swenson, Chairman of Republicans Overseas UK, thank you for that.